Hi, it's Dr. Jan with some wise words to work with. And today I want to talk about shame in the workplace and how we can make sure that we're not making people feel shameful when we're trying to stop bully culture and to help people deal with the traumatic effects of it. So, we're going to talk about what is shame. Well, shame is, of course, a feeling that we have. Everybody feels shame, or the large majority of people feel shame at some point in their life. And you can feel shame both personally and professionally. Most of the time, when we're talking about shame, we talk about shame in our personal lives and in our personal realms. But you can also feel shame at work. Okay. And so shame is something where you might feel bad or guilty about something that you've done, or something that's being done to you. For example, like if you're being abused, like targets are being abused in bully culture, they're embarrassed about that. So bystanders who engage in bullying might feel guilty or shame about doing that. And even bullies feel shame. Okay. And that's because, again, I know a lot of people think that bullies are people with severe personality disorders, but really the majority of bullies are people who just were socialized, into this culture of dysfunction, and they learn that being a bully gets them ahead, and really you don't have to grow as a person if you are a bully. And so they feel shame about what they are doing because many times they know they shouldn't be doing it. And so shame is a prevalent feeling in workplace bullying. If you've heard me talk before, I've talked about bystanders, right? And so I was in a lot of meetings where I was being abused, or I was witnessing other targets being abused. And I tend to like to watch people, what they're doing. And so I would watch bystanders, their body language, their reactions, and a lot of times bystanders would sit with their eyes down, their head down, hung just like this when I was being abused. And that kind of body language like this is really indicative of people who are feeling ashamed of what's going on, of not intervening. So shame is a commonplace feeling that people have in workplace bullying and in bully cultures. Okay, it's a very shameful experience to be part of that high toxicity and dysfunction. It's standard to feel shame in those situations. Okay, and one of the things then that happens oftentimes when leaders come in to try to intervene with the bullying is they try to identify the person who's the problem, and unintentionally, oftentimes what they do is, yeah, that's right, they try to make that person feel ashamed. And that's often because we feel like if that person feels bad or ashamed about what they're doing, okay, their moral compass will kick in, and they will realize that what they're doing is wrong, and they'll want to change that behavior. So sometimes when we feel ashamed, okay, what happens is we can use that to change our behavior. And that's oftentimes why leaders use shame, both intentionally and unintentionally, when they're intervening with workplace bullying, to try to get that person to recognize what they're doing and to change their behavior. So what can leaders do instead of making bullies feel ashamed, or making bystanders feeling ashamed because they didn't intervene or they didn't report? Well, first off, leaders need to listen to what people are saying, and they need to observe behavior, okay, so that they can see with their own eyes what the workplace bully is doing. That way, when they intervene, and they should always intervene on an individual level with a bully, they should hold them personally responsible for the bullying, and they should talk to them about professional growth in their behavior. And instead of saying, you don't know how to communicate, is I'm going to work with you on improving your communication so that you can have professional growth. When I say you aren't a good person, or you're not a good worker, or you're a bully, those are shameful kinds of comments. But if I say to you, again, using my good I statements, I really appreciate the work that you do and I see your potential. Here are 3 things I'm going to work with you on. I'm going to help you learn how to write appropriate and good emails. I'm going to help you develop better conflict resolution skills. And I'm going to help you learn how to communicate without raising your voice. And then those are things that we can work on together and so that you can make professional growth. Okay. And so at some point, okay, you do have to have a conversation with the bully about accountability and their behavior. And again, you can do that without shaming someone. You can use your good I statements like, I understand that, social work is a stressful work. And I know that we have a heavy workload, and I know that sometimes that can get to us. One of the things, though, that I've observed is that when we're in meetings, I notice that you raise your voice. I notice that your body language becomes aggressive. And I think because you're a social worker, that doesn't align with our values and our ethics. And I'm going to work with you to do that. The other thing that I've noticed is when you raise your voice and your body language becomes harsh, I think that affects your coworkers. Okay. And we don't want that. And I know that you don't want that. Okay. And I'm going to help you learn these skills so that you're a better social worker and that aligns with our code of ethics in social work. Okay. So you still want to hold them accountable to a standard. You don't have to call them names like a bully. Okay. But you can be specific about what you've observed, even what you've heard, without bringing the target into the mix. Okay, because as soon as you say, well, John said that, you were bullying him, then that becomes more shameful and it becomes an opportunity for the bully to shut down and be defensive. So whenever you're going to talk to a bully about their behavior, you don't want them to become defensive. You want them to be accountable. And in order to do that, you have to have somebody who's not going to shut down. And you're key to that. Okay. So you can hold a bully accountable without holding them or making them feel ashamed. And that's the same thing with bystanders. Okay. Bystanders need to be held accountable to the fact that they didn't intervene. Okay, that they didn't report, and in fact, that they did engage in the bullying. Using good I statements and good communication can acknowledge what the people have done, and you can help them make professional growth. Because one of the things that happens with shame is we tend to keep looking at it. We keep revisiting it. We keep going back to the fact that I'm a bystander and I didn't intervene. I just hung my head. Okay, and whenever I think about this, then I feel ashamed. Okay. And as the leader, you can acknowledge that shame and say, I understand why it was difficult for you to speak up. But you know what? I put into place these policies and these procedures for reporting that will protect people. And I know that you're going to be a great role model in going forward, that if you see something, some bullying, I know that you're going to report that. I have confidence in you. Okay, and I can help you develop the skills that you need to be an assertive communicator. Okay, and one of the things I think is very different when you're dealing with a target than bystanders and bullies is it's very important for you to listen to how they felt. Many of those might be shameful, and not support their shame. What you need to do is support the fact that you, as the leader, dropped the ball. And you also need to take responsibility if, in fact, what has happened is they reported and you didn't take it seriously. Okay, you're taking responsibility of the bully culture in which they have been working in under your guidance and supervision is really important for them to help them get rid of those shameful feelings. Okay, and so again, the target also may feel shame about if they engage in bad behavior too. Again, it's not your job to make them feel bad. It's your job to hold people accountable to a standard and also to acknowledge in bully culture that if you didn't intervene appropriately, that led to additional hurt and harmful experiences. And so, really, the leader is key in not making people feel continued shame, because if you continue to feel shame, bystanders, targets, and even bullies, what happens is that hurts, that's painful. And a way that I can make myself feel better is, yeah, that's right, to engage in more bullying. One of the most important things when you're trying to intervene in bully culture is not to make people feel worse than they already do. So to encourage or enhance people's feelings of shame is only going to exacerbate the bullying, because people will respond and react in a way that they can get rid of those feelings of shame. Okay. And so you have to make sure that the environment is safe. People feel like they can communicate honestly and openly, and that takes time. And so when you start to intervene in bully culture, you can't expect it to be a light switch. Oh, today it's bullying, tomorrow it's not. It takes a significant amount of time, because those behaviors, okay, those unprofessional bullying behaviors have become part of the norm of your organizations. And in order to get rid of that, you have to be able to openly, honestly communicate. And also, you have to make sure that you're not making people feel ashamed. And you have to teach people new professional skills. And to revamp your organizational culture takes a significant amount of time. And so you're going to have to be in it for the long haul so that you can stop bully culture. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, or you want to talk to me, or would have a particular topic around workplace bullying that you'd like me to talk about, please go ahead and comment or email me at jan@stopbullyculture.com. Thank you.